everyone, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel. I moved some things around, so I have not filmed in 3 weeks today, and a lot has changed. Me and my husband, we moved our room around. We built some more shelves. I have a new light. It's on a mirror, so I'm not using my ring light, but this one's brighter. And yeah, so today I'm going to be talking about my 10 favorite books of all time. This list was so hard to come up with after like number 4. So, and I have a series on here because I couldn't choose out of the first 3 books. And yeah, so the first book is obviously The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Actually, the whole trilogy, Catching Fire and Mockingjay, but I'm just holding up the first book. And yes, so if you are a longtime subscriber, then you know that I am obsessed with The Hunger Games. When I read the first book, my room was in this layout, which was 2013. I read The Hunger Games for the first time, and then binge read Catching Fire and Mockingjay. And then I watched the first movie, fell in love with Josh Hutcherson, and was like, could not wait for the next 3 movies. And so much fan fiction. I got so much merch. It's crazy. Some of my best friends I've met on Tumblr. And yeah. So if you don't know what Hunger Games is about, it's about these 24 kids have to go into this arena to fight to the death, and only one can survive. It's a like punishment for a rebellion that the districts rose up against the Capitol 75 years ago. Yeah, and it's great. I love it. And Katniss and Peeta are my OTP. Gale is non-existent. He does not matter. He is nothing. So, yes. If you've not read Hunger Games, pick it up, read it. Highly recommend it. 2 is a nonfiction, and I have a couple more nonfiction on this list. And this one is The Clancy of Queens by Tara Clancy. I read this last year in November, and I laughed so hard. It made me want a big Italian family of my own, and it made me miss my grandma so much more than I already did. My grandma died, my great-grandma, she died in 2014 in November, and I read this in November of last year, and I was already missing her, and this just made me miss her even more. And yeah, so it's about this girl named Tara Clancy. She grows up with a blended family. Her dad lives in Brooklyn in this shack, and then her mom is dating a guy who has a mansion in the Hamptons. And then it goes into her life. She deals with her friend's teenage pregnancy. She deals with coming out. Her mom takes her to a sex shop. That was a lot. And her grandma, she just makes up the words to the hymns in church, and she forbids anybody in her family to go over to somebody else's house and eat, because then they'll think that she's not feeding her family. And it's just my grandma. And so yes, when I finished reading this, I read it in 2 days. I automatically wanted to go and reread it, because it doesn't feel like a nonfiction, but it is. And I just want more writing from Tara Clancy. That's just great. Highly recommend. Yes, it's one of my favorites. I will be rereading this soon, because I'm having a lot of down days, especially today. The third book series on this list is the Millennium Trilogy by Stieg Larsson. This is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, The Girl Who Kicked a Hornet's Nest, and The Girl Who Played with Fire. I don't have this series. I don't own this series. I bought it today. So hopefully it is delivered to my house and not somewhere else, like my husband's birthday present, but we're not going to get into that. So this is about a hacker and a financial journalist. The financial journalist has been convicted of like slander in his magazine, and it opens up with his court case, and then this guy contacts him to help him find his niece that's been missing for years. And then the financial journalist, he gets in contact with Elizabeth and her story of helping him find this, helping find the niece, and really digging deep into the story. And then the second and third books are mainly about her on the run, and it's just great. Now, Stieg Larsson died after the third book was published, and there's 2 or 3 more books out now in the series written by David Levinkratz. I read the 4th book and I absolutely hated it. You could tell a major difference from Stieg Larsson's Elizabeth and David Levinkratz's Elizabeth. I hope I'm saying his name right. But I will not be reading the 5th book or the 6th. I don't even know how many are out now, but I will not be reading those. I'm going to stick with the original trilogy because those are the best. And yeah. So if you have not read The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series, it's the Millennium Trilogy. Highly recommend. Pick them up. Number 4 is Scarlett by Marissa Meyer. This is book 2 in the Lunar Chronicles, and this follows my favorite character from the whole Lunar Chronicles world, Scarlett. She is on a farm in France, and her grandma is a hidden pilot. And so Scarlett doesn't know much about her past, only that the town respects her grandmother. And so her grandmother goes missing or gets hurt, I forget. And these lunar soldiers that are wolf mutations come and attack Earth. One of the soldiers, comes into a pub and starts a fight. And Scarlett, she takes pity on him and he follows her. And then they become a pairing. And Wolf, he has never tasted a tomato, and then he tastes one and his whole world is changed. And he only wants to protect Scarlett. That's the whole thing. Scarlett, Wolf, tomatoes. That's it. One of my favorite fruits is a tomato. I love tomatoes, especially in the summer. I live in the South, so I grow my own tomatoes, and yes. Yes. And one of my favorite quotes ever is from this series. It's in the 4th book, where Scarlett just wants to live on her farm with Wolf and give him all the tomatoes. I don't know the exact quote, but I'll put it down in the description. But yes, this is another one of my OTPs. Scarlett and Wolf. People don't like Scarlett and Wolf. I don't know why. I loved them. But yes, I love wolves, as you will see in my next book on this list. And Little Red Riding Hood is one of my favorite fairy tales. And I love Scarlett and Wolf. Especially their end game. Yes. Perfect. I just want a whole series on if they have little wolf pups. Ah! Last comment might have been a huge spoiler, but I am not sorry for it. So, the number 5 on this list is American Wolf. This is a nonfiction by Nate Blakesley. This is about the wolf packs in Yellowstone National Park and how they're tracked, and how scientists are tracking the different packs in Yellowstone, and how the wolves are diminishing the elk population, and how the hunters want to hunt the wolves so they can hunt the elk, because once there are no more elk, the wolves sneak onto, or like trespass onto hunters' property and grab livestock and stuff. And so it goes into detail about how the government, when they make laws, they stick in like endings or beginnings to new bands or packs, or taking animals off endangered species list. And it talks about a couple of bills that lawmakers snuck in, taking the American wolf off the endangered species list so hunters could hunt. And I think the American wolf goes on 2 or 3 times during this book. And it also is told from the point of view of one of the researchers, or a ranger. He's a ranger. And some of the story is told like it's through the eyes of the female, the alpha female of this one pack. And it talks about how the babies growing up in this one pack, how they break off and form their own packs, and eventually they have to fight this one pack for territory. And it's just great. I really loved it. One of my favorite animals is a wolf, and I am always looking and reading up on bills that are being passed and seeing if they have the American wolf being taken off. I know the American wolf has been taken off of the endangered species list by Donald Trump because of, in one of the bills that he signed. I think it was one of the COVID bills. So I'm not sure, but yes. If you want to know more about endangered species and how some animals are taken off when they are clearly still endangered, and yeah, read it. It'll teach you a lot. Book number 6 is 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Elston. I read this 2 years ago, and I read it in 2 days. I absolutely loved it. It's about a girl, and she gets dumped by her boyfriend on Christmas. So she's supposed to go off on a Christmas vacation with him, but instead she goes to her grandmother's house and her big Italian family. If you do not know, I love big Italian families. I want one of my own. If I did not have my husband, I would go find me a good Italian boy with a big old family and just slot myself in there. But anyways, so she's upset and she's grieving or mourning the loss of her relationship. And so her aunts and uncles and cousins decide to set her up on 10 blind dates. 5 dates before Christmas, 5 dates after Christmas. My favorite date that she went on was the one set on my birthday. And I did not plan that. So my birthday is December 21st. I think this was her second date or her first. No, it wasn't her first. It was her second date. And her aunt, one of her aunts is very into church. And so her aunt decided to pair her up with a 14-year-old freshman or 8th grader in a nativity play. And so she was the Virgin Mary, and the freshman, her date, was Joseph. And so she had to hold a live screaming baby this whole date. And then there was a freaking goat that was chewing on her dress, and she had lights in her dress. And the goat got electrocuted. So it was just great. The other dates were fantastic. The family, they were so wholesome and close-knit. There was 2 cousins that reminded me of 2 of my own cousins that are snooty bitches. Yeah. One uncle stays away from the cannolis. I do not own this copy. I do not own this book yet, but I will be. And Ashley Elston has another book coming out in this world called 10 Dares and a Truth, and I cannot wait. But the cover changes I'm not a fan of. I don't usually like people on my covers, but 10 Blind Dates with the girl and the foil balloons, I'm there for. The new one coming out, it's a freaking illustrated edition with a illustrated foil balloon. And then the paperback version of 10 Blind Dates has a illustrated version girl with a illustrated 10 Blind Dates and foil balloons. I'm not here for the covers. I'm not. But I'm just so freaking excited for this second book coming out, and it comes out next month in May. And I cannot wait. Book 7 is The Testaments by Margaret Atwood. Yes, this is the sequel to The Handmaid's Tale. I read The Handmaid's Tale right before season 1 came out, and I gave it a 3 stars. I didn't really enjoy it, but I didn't hate it either. So I watched the first season. I watched the first 2 episodes and then took a break, and I was like, huh. And then season 2 came out, and I was like, I need to finish watching season 1 because this looks damn good. So I binged season 1. And then I binged season 2. And then I binged season 3. It is now my emotional show that my kids call. I cry, I scream, I get angry, I throw things at my TV. Not intentionally, but it's like, I never throw hard things. I throw blankets, I throw pillows. I don't throw food, nothing. But, yeah. 3rd season. And then, I think it was not last year, but the year before, I read The Testaments. And it was like, it just left or picked up where season 3 left off. It had all of the same characters. It had the baby. It had I was loving it. The only thing I had a problem with is that it didn't follow the storyline for Aunt Lydia in the book or in the show. The show gave her a storyline where she was a teacher and she was alone, but then in the book in the Testament she was a social worker, a lawyer or something, and she had to sit into this field. It was very different, and I didn't really like that, but I loved the parts we got from Hannah and Nicole and the ending. I mean, the ending for season 3 and the ending of The Testaments just broke me. And now, Wednesday, April 28th, season 4 hits Hulu. I have canceled everything that day. I have no responsibilities. The first 2 or 3 episodes that they release, I'm going to be sitting on this bed. I'm going to be watching my TV. I ain't going to be bothered. I'm not going to be cooking. I ain't going to be cleaning. No school. Girls got a school day off. They can play their 3DSs, everything. But I'm nervous. I'm nervous that I'm going to be disappointed because season 4 was supposed to come out last year. And why am I talking about the show? I'm supposed to be talking about The Testaments. But, yes. And Aunt Lydia took a complete 180 in this book, which is The Testaments. Some people were ragging on it like, oh, it's so different and it's so far between the published date of the first one now. And dude, watch the show. Read the first book, watch the show, then read the book. So, first book, seasons 1 through 3, and then The Testaments, and then season 4. For right now. Book 8. We're leaving the wolves, we're leaving the handmaids and the barren wives and the misogynistic patriarchy, and we're going to spies. So, this is The Kill Artist by Daniel Silva. I have talked about the Gabriel Allen series so much on this channel. It's one of my favorites. It is like a close second. It is... Nothing compares to James Bond, but Gabriel Allen is number 2. So the whole series is number 8 for me, even though I've only read book 1, 5, and 7. My bad. So this is about a Israeli spy named Gabriel Allen. This first book, he is a art restorer, and he has left the Israeli spy organization because his wife and son were killed in a car bombing, and he's over it. He's done. And then he gets brought back by his old handler and his boss. And yeah, I forget. I'm going to have to reread this one because I don't remember what it's about. But, yeah. Spy. He goes to different countries, not like some spies that, oh, I'm so big, smart. But yes, I really love the globe trotting and the action and the, not the violence, but the other character lines, storylines. It's really good about introducing other characters and their stories getting fleshed out. Like, there's this little boy who lives across the road from Gabriel Allen while he's doing his art restore, and this little boy watches him, and then when Gabriel Allen gets called away and says, I'm doing this and then I'm done, he asks this little boy to watch his house. And Gabriel Allen has something important in this house, and then eventually he comes back, and then he gets attacked in his own home, and the little boy is having family issues of his own. It's just great. It's great at interweaving things. So number 9 is one that talks about World War II. And so that is The Girl from the Train by Irma Jobert. This is about a a German Jew. She is on the train with her mother and grandmother on the way to Auschwitz. She somehow escapes, and then the train gets blown up by resistance. And so she is hiding in this forest, and the guy that helped blow up the train takes her under her wing and takes her to this house with his family. And then after the war, his mother kicks her out. Like, there's no more mouths to feed. And so he takes her to a German orphanage. And she can't speak her Russian, which her mother was Russian. She can't speak Russian. She can't speak Polish. And she can't speak German. So she has to do hand motions. And then she eventually gets adopted by this German couple and sent to South Africa to live with them. And this is about her time having to keep her family history secret so she is not killed for it. And so she grows up, and eventually the guy who helped save her, he goes to South Africa and meets up with her, and then they become friends, and eventually a relationship forms. And I absolutely loved it. It's about Gretel and Jacob. Jacob sends Gretel to South Africa, where German war orphans are promised bright futures with adopted Protestant families so long as Gretel's Jewish roots, Catholic education, and connections to communist Poland are never discovered. It's really great. This is a translated work from Irma Jobert. Irma Jobert is South African, so this is translated from Afrikaans and the language. And I really want to read more by this author. This was my first book from her, and it was just really great. It flowed. It was tear-jerking. It was heartbreaking. It was funny at times. And yeah, the tagline is, 6-year-old Gretel Schmidt is on a train bound for Auschwitz. Jacob Kowalski is planting a bomb on the tracks. So the last book on this list, I almost completely forgot about it until I went and looked at my bookshelf in the hallway, and I was like, oh yeah, that one. And it is This Is Where I Leave You by Jonathan Tropper. This is about a Jewish family. Their father has passed away, and so this family is going to sit Shiva. This is a 7-day long mourning process where friends and neighbors come and visit the family for 7 days, and the family has to sit in these chairs in the living room and just let these people come and give their grievings and mourning and support. And yeah, so Jude, which is Jason Bateman, he wasn't going to show up. He was, but he wasn't expecting his father to just up and die. And so yeah, before he leaves, he catches his wife cheating on him with his boss. His boss is this radio host of the show, and he's crass, he's gross, he's despicable. But Jude's wife is sleeping with his boss. And so on their anniversary, it was so great. Yeah, so one of the sister, Tina Fey, she's having marriage problems. Her husband is putting work before the kids, and these two, Agatha, WandaVision, she wants to have a baby so freaking badly, and he's the older brother. And then the little brother, Adam Driver, he brings home his therapist that he's dating and has proposed to. It's just one big family drama, and it's just great. There's fighting, there's a lot of sex, not a lot of sex, but sex and baby monitors. If you have not seen the movie, go watch it. It's great. But yeah, there's weed, smoking weed in the temple, and you smell like dorm room. But yeah, they set off the fire alarm, and it's just very fun and good. That is it for this video. There's my top 10 favorite books of right now. It could change tomorrow. I could read a book tonight and just read it in one sitting, and it'd be my favorite ever. Highly doubt that, because I'm reading a graphic novel right now. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.